All right, so guys, we're back with another episode of the Watch Well podcast. I'm your host, Parker, and we're good, right? We're good? We go? I'm your host, Parker, and I'm sitting with Andrew Rapoport. Awesome, man. And you wanted to talk about Matt Walsh's recent film, Am I Racist?
Yeah, that was a recent film. Now it's available on, it was in theaters, now available on
Did
Daily
they
Wire.
They released it to the platform? Awesome.
So it's on Daily Wire Plus, but you end up having to, you get the behind the scenes, suppose.
Oh,
I haven't watched it yet, but they got some extra
I haven't seen
footage.
that yet. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'll have to check that out. But before we get into the movie, let's run through these sudden death questions, okay?
All right,
Let's
good.
see how good you are. So, action movie or drama?
Action.
Action, okay. Superheroes or historical epics?
Historical epics.
Okay. Classic movies or new releases?
Probably classical.
Classics, okay. Are you nachos or a pretzel guy? Pretzel bites?
Probably neither.
Neither? Okay, let me get you the other one. Candy or popcorn? How about that one?
Probably popcorn.
Popcorn, okay, popcorn. Old Testament stories or New Testament parables?
Yes.
Yes, okay, fair enough. I like it. Are you a soundtrack guy? You like the music, or are you visuals? You like the cinematography?
Oh, I could care less about music.
Okay.
Although I will say, if you try watching a movie without the music,
interesting.
Yeah, people don't realize how much the music does.
It manipulates. Yeah,
it absolutely
it
manipulates
emotions and feelings and fear and joy. Like, it absolutely does all that. Okay, this is a little bit more difficult one. What movie character most represents you and why? That's the last one we got. So I had to drop the bomb on you for the last one.
What?
Take your time, no rush.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Well, you said before you got on you were more of a controversial guy. So
yeah,
pick someone controversial.
Yeah, I mean,
well, Matt Walsh is controversial.
Yeah, but see, I can't pull off what Matt Walsh does because I don't know.
He's got a very interesting sense of humor, and
it's not that. How does he keep a straight face?
Yeah, I have no idea.
When he's
not
sitting there with people saying the most absurd
They're
things in the world,
outrageous.
And he's just like,
and how does I don't know how he doesn't make himself laugh with some of his comments.
I know.
It's so funny.
So he did the first one, What is a Woman?
Right.
My absolute favorite scene of that, because I've lived it being an open-air evangelist, where someone comes up, they start a conversation and realize,
I don't really know what I'm talking about.
I really shouldn't have started this.
That's
like
right.
that.
That's right.
There was the one transgender who, he's like, what is a woman? Only a trans woman can tell you what a woman is. He goes, do you know what a cat is?
That's right.
And the person just looks.
And then they walk away.
And goes, I knew I shouldn't have done this, and walked away. It's
That's
like,
right.
yeah,
So funny.
I've experienced that look on people's faces.
So funny. So that's your favorite. Is that what did you say? That's your favorite scene from What is a Woman?
Probably my favorite. Yeah. I rewound that like 10 times just to.
Someone should make a GIF of it.
Yeah. Because I literally. So when the Dobbs was released before the Supreme Court was supposed to, so everyone's talking abortion.
Yep.
And I just sat there on the streets. I was in Ocean City, Maryland, and I'm just asking, anyone here think that abortion is a woman's right to choose?
Okay.
And so sure enough, I get some guy, he raises his hand, yeah, I do. Really? Can we discuss that? He's like, yeah. Well, like sticking his chest out and whatnot.
They always come in so sure of themselves.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he's like, I said, so you believe it's a woman's right to choose, right? He says, yeah. I said, so you believe that the Supreme Court, 9 men were wrong for deciding for women they should have abortion? And he just like, it's still a woman's right.
Yeah.
I said, okay, can you define what a woman is?
And then they can't do it.
And he just looked at me, turned, and walked off.
Away. Yeah, that's so funny.
And people in the crowd were just cracking up because it was like he was, like you said.
It's called checkmate.
Yeah. Up there, chest out, like all sure of himself. And then he's like, I don't know how to answer this.
Yeah, when the Bible talks about a vain worldview, a foolish worldview, that's what it's speaking to, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you talked about your favorite scene in What is a Woman. What's your favorite scene in Am I Racist?
Oh, that would be harder because like the whole thing is classic. I would
see. I found more entertainment in One as a Woman. It was more humorous. Like it was still humorous.
It was definitely more humorous. So they did two totally different things.
They did.
The first one was, hey, let's let them speak.
Yeah.
In their own words, but interviewing them. Where in Am I Racist? Matt Walsh is actually pretending to be someone that is a DEI,
right.
or properly spelled DIE, because that's what it leads to.
Right. Amen.
But he's walking through as if he now is buying into it.
Yes.
And so
It's so funny. It's so funny.
I would have two favorite scenes.
Okay.
The one is where he's interviewing a guy who wrote a book against diversity, inclusion, and equity, and the guy has a book with all these stats against it. And the guy suddenly is like, oh, wait, did you read the cover of my book? Like, he must not realize. I would love to know when Matt Walsh told him who he really was or what the movie was really about.
I wonder if that's in the behind the scenes.
I'm waiting to see, because if not, it'd be great if that guy didn't know until the movie came out.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's so funny.
The other scene was when he actually got the woman who wrote White Fragility
Yep.
to pay a guy because
Robin DiAngelo. Yeah.
Yeah, because what you see in that scene. Okay, so for folks who haven't seen I Am Racist, right? Matt Walsh is a conservative. He's Roman Catholic. So, okay, he's got some quasi-Christian views. But he goes in there as if he's wants to get information from her. He wants to build something up with her, and they were going to do it. Like, she thinks they're going to do a film promoting DEI, and it's like, I think they did a 2-hour interview. Yeah, and
it was long.
It's like the build up to it before the film came out. He kept going to Robin DiAngelo. The scene you think's not in there, it's in there. And you knew it was bad when almost all the people that are in the film removed their X account the day before the film came out.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
She put out a press release.
Okay.
Before the film came out.
I think I remember that. Yeah, I think I remember that.
So you knew it was a real scene.
Right.
And so what she does, sorry, ruining it for folks who haven't seen it.
It's a spoiler zone podcast. Yeah.
But she already spoiled it by putting it out there.
She did.
So Matt Walsh goes in, and he's sitting there saying, well, shouldn't we, because she argues for reparations.
Yeah.
The thing is that everyone wants reparations for someone else to pay.
Yes, that's right.
Right?
Yeah, kind of like taxes.
Yeah. Yeah, others should pay the taxes for the poor. Well, you know, all these rich people that say the rich should pay taxes, do it.
Yeah.
Who's holding you back?
Yeah, but they never do.
Yeah. I mean, who is holding Bernie Sanders back? He's a millionaire.
Yeah.
Who's holding him back from paying more taxes?
Right.
No one.
Him.
He is.
He is. Yeah.
And so Robin DiAngelo is going, yeah, we should do reparations. And he's like, well, why don't we start? Our producer here, he's black, and he takes out $30.
Gives it to him.
And she doesn't want to, though.
No, you can tell.
That was the whole thing. She is trying to find a way out of it.
She is.
And she knows it's being filmed.
Well, I don't want to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, she's saying all these things, I don't want to make you uncomfortable. And he's like, oh, I'm good with free cash.
Yeah.
It's so funny, man. It's so funny.
Because what she showed is she's good with the government taking people's money.
Yes.
And giving it as reparations.
Yeah.
She just doesn't want to do it herself.
Right.
And Matt Walsh is like, well, don't you think it should start with us? We should set the example.
We're the ones leading this woke ideology. You're right. We should set the example.
And she didn't want to do it. And
she was seething.
It was so classic. She goes over, gets her money, and I mean, one thing that is funny, because he does expose this, every person he interviews, he puts how much they charge.
Yeah, that's right.
For that. Now, the woman who made the most money, $50K, made money from where I live. Okay. So it's the woman that went to Sesame Place, right by where I live, in north of Philly, and got $50K to come in because her child was supposedly overlooked.
Oh, at the
it's
the amusement park.
The amusement park, where and you look at the character. The character is looking up at an adult person and just walks right. Doesn't see the kids. Right. Okay, and Matt Walsh was like, well, is the character, were they black? Were they white? Do you know? Well, they won't tell us that. So you really have no clue whether it was a racist thing or not. You're just making money off it. That's what he did. So Robin DiAngelo's in there.
It was a lot of money, too.
It was a lot. 50 grand?
Yeah, man.
And Robin DiAngelo was like $15,000, and she gives, I think it was like $30 or something. So they take that off of the thing of what they paid. And she came out with her press release saying, I gave it to charity.
That's right.
Yeah, you gave it to charity now. I bet. I'd love to know the date of the check that you gave it to charity.
That's so funny.
No, I will admit, I am totally for reparations.
Okay.
I am. I believe that, when we see that there were Democrats were the party of the KKK, the party that supported slavery, the party that fought to keep people enslaved.
That's right.
They were against the civil rights movement.
Yep.
So I think that every Democrat should pay every black in America reparations. And then every black should find a white Republican from the North that fought, because it's the white Republicans that fought for freedom. They should then give those to the Republicans. I'm totally for that
idea.
kind of...
Interesting idea. One thing that I... oh, that's so funny. That's so funny.
And we would have to figure out, because most people don't realize that the people that came over in the slave trade were kidnapped by blacks in Africa. So now you got to figure out, because I actually know someone whose family line goes back to one of the slavers.
Well, it's kind of like the whole, America is built on the atrocities committed against the Native Americans, right? Well, which tribe?
Yeah.
Which tribe should we give it back to? Because we're all fighting each other, right?
Yeah, those tribes got along so nice.
They were just kumbaya. Well, one thing that I wanted to point out against, or not against, but about the movie, the differences between What is a Woman and Am I Racist is What is a Woman, I thought, was more of a comedic take. Mm-hmm. But what I liked about Am I Racist was they brought the viewer into the uncomfortable setting of that. Mm-hmm. And Matt's dry, sarcastic, they just let it sit there and linger, and I think that's what really made it, because you were sitting there and it was like you were in the meetings. Mm-hmm. and it was like, oh my, it was painfully uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And what was so fun too was that he would go as woke as they would let him go to beat them, and the person who was the wokest would win.
Yeah.
Through the virtue signaling, right?
Okay. The thing with that is I'm amazed that not only did Matt could keep a straight face.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did that in both movies.
It's a skill.
That is probably the funniest thing of both movies, is that he could keep a straight face with the most ridiculous things being explained.
That's right.
But in the beginning of Am I Racist, you have this dinner party that's only for women, and they're sitting there.
It's so bad, man.
Yeah, and he's trying to interject himself. He comes in as a waiter.
Yeah.
So he gets a job as a waiter for it. I'm not sure, but my guess is they probably arranged for it to be. They had to arrange for it to be recorded. It was like a 1.5, 2 hour dinner.
Yeah.
So he's then hired as a waiter, and he's just sitting there trying to interject himself into the discussion, dropping things on the floor so that he could.
And he shows him his card.
Card. I'm certified. Which, by the way, he didn't actually get certified. He paid one of his employees to get the certification for him. But he goes, raise a glass if you're racist. And these women raise their glass, even the black woman. Then she goes, oh no, I can't be racist.
Yeah. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've redefined what racism is.
Yeah.
To no longer be about the issue of prejudice against a group of people.
Yeah, no, it's only those who disagree with black people.
Yeah. Well, not so much. It's disagree with Marxism.
Fair enough.
Because you can be black and you could be called racist.
That's right.
If you're not agreeing with a Marxist agenda.
Right, because they call Candace Owens racist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that she's got a whole other thing now that's interesting.
Yeah, well, being Jewish, I have a whole.
It's a whole different thing.
A whole different thing. Yeah.
But they were calling her that with the whole just associating with Republicans.
Yeah.
A long time ago. But yeah, super interesting. But yeah, thanks for coming on, man. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate the movies, and super uncomfortable with Am I Racist?
People don't realize what, and I think this is why Matt does what he does. They don't realize what these people actually are teaching and saying. Mm-hmm. And so you have Matt going in to try to get them to speak in what they would think is a friendly environment, what they would never say to people
in
that public that would be against them.
Yeah.
This is what they're teaching people in private.
That's right.
And even though it's being recorded, they think it's to a friendly audience, and they're saying things they wouldn't say.
Yeah.
And so you're hearing what they're actually promoting.
Right.
And Matt Walsh sets up one of these. First off, I think it's hysterical that he could get on national TV on news
and
just by saying his name's Matt.
Stretch out my whiteness.
Stretch out my whiteness.
And then he even pointed, he's like, this was not for you.
Yeah. But he didn't need anything other than to say, I'm DEI certified.
Yeah.
That's what it took
to
get him on, which is amazing. that's all it takes.
That's right.
But the thing that is, at the end, he sets up a workshop.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to spoil this one. I'll just say you'll need to see. But he actually said, what is the most bizarre thing I could try to get people to do?
Yeah.
And he's doing this workshop, and there's a couple people that go, yeah, no, I'm out of here. I've had enough. And there's others that are like, okay, we're going to do this most bizarre thing.
It was bad, man.
And he's like, just stop. Like, no, I can't go on. Like, leave. You know, like I can't. He couldn't bring himself to get people to actually do this.
Right.
But there were people willing to physically hurt themselves.
That's right. But that was the thing that was super interesting. Was he took the worldview to its logical conclusion, and then along the way, people started to disagree, and the more they disagreed, like the less moral they felt. And that was what was so interesting with the whole movie, is if you take it to its logical conclusion, it's absurd.
Now, I find it very funny because people are attacking Matt Walsh because we have now a DEI presidential candidate.
That's right.
I mean, that's what Joe Biden said. That's why he picked her.
You're right.
Because she's a black woman.
Right.
That's the DEI.
Yep.
So he picked
checked
her
the box.
He checked the box.
Yep.
People are giving him a hard time because he did the film just because Kamala Harris is running for president. It's like, then you should call him a prophet because he started the film 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like, it was all done before Kamala Harris kicked Joe Biden to the side.
That's right.
And said, you're not here, I'm taking over.
Right.
He had no way of knowing that.
Yeah.
But the left is so far gone that they thinking doesn't apply.
No, you're right. Thinking doesn't. It's not logic. It's feeling.
Well, it's feeling, it's emotion, and unfortunately, and this even seeps into Christian circles, but a quote that I say often is, truth doesn't matter, theology doesn't matter, narrative matters. Mm-hmm. That's what matters nowadays. You look at Christians on X or social media, they don't care about truth anymore. They don't care about theology anymore. It's just, what's my narrative?
Yeah.
I mean, I had a guy that was arguing that it's unchristian to vote for Trump, we must vote for Harris, because Trump is so demeaning. And I said to him, help me understand this. Is calling your opponent Hitler demeaning? Right. Is calling all of his followers Hitler, calling them deplorables?
Garbage.
Calling them garbage. Well, this was before that comment came out. But saying that they are a clear and present threat to democracy, that's what he referred.
When we're a democratic republic.
Yeah. So when Biden first got in, so I end up I read policy.
Okay.
For reasons, but specifically on terrorism.
Okay.
Biden came in. So when Barack Obama came in, a lot of people don't know this. Barack Obama came in. He redefined what a domestic terrorist is.
Okay.
If you are pro-life, you're defined as a domestic terrorist.
Yeah. Well, and I think that checks out too, because there was a recent. I don't know for sure, so don't quote me. You can beat me up in the comments all you want, but wasn't there something where there were people being put on the watch list for pro-life, for conservative relationships and stuff like that? Yeah.
I saw the watch list, so it's classified, but yeah, I saw the watch list.
Okay.
I know exactly who is on the watch list.
Yeah. Wild.
So the thing is that you see that Joe Biden started to define if you are against the vaccine, if you want to have encrypted communications with people, if you gather regularly with people that have the same ideology, you're a domestic terrorist.
Yeah.
I did a whole podcast.
Living in 1984, bro.
Yeah. Okay, so I thought, when I read 1984, the one thing I thought, I was like, there's a lot of things I said, I could see it happening. The one thing I never thought that to me was far-fetched, was Newspeak.
Yep.
And for folks who don't know the book, Newspeak is where the government just changes the language, because the whole argument is if you control the past, you can control the future. Mm-hmm. So they would just change terms, and everyone just goes with it. And I went, that is that could never happen. And then all of a sudden, we're starting to talk about birthing parent.
Yep.
We had a woman in my church
birthing people, and it's crazy.
She gives birth in the hospital, and they look at the mother and the father, and they go, which one of you is the birthing parent?
Yeah, just absurd, man.
And this woman is like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The one in bed, the mother? Like,
yeah, crazy.
I mean, so my friend Matt Slick has a T-shirt he wears out. 1984 was not an instruction manual. And then he's got another one that says, "Make 1984 fiction again."
I like that one. I'll have to check that one out. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good shirt.
It's like so needed.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Well, thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate it. I'll shake your hand. Yeah. Andrew, guys, that'll be it for this episode. Stick around. We're at Fight, Laugh, Feast. We're going to be running episodes all at you. And, yeah, thanks. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Check you guys later.